Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Hi everyone, and welcome to Brisbane Professionals Podcast. My name is Craig Mason from SMS Law, and I have Jeremy Stratton here with me from SMS Law. Please say hello to everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hello everyone, I hope you're having an awesome week.
It has been a good week. I've kicked a lot of goals this week. I've been very happy with the progress. And I think, Jeremy, you were saying you've got a lot of things done.
Absolutely, yeah. Got my Kanban tasks all moved across, so it's going well.
Excellent. All right. Power of that. Cool. So today we want to talk about franchises, and specifically if you're considering becoming a franchisee, so that's the person that's buying the franchise, what things do you need to consider? We've got 5 for today's show. The list could go on for a month of Sundays, but we've picked 5 to talk about today. So, Jeremy, what's the first thing that you need to consider before becoming a franchisee?
Yeah, so ask how they treat their first franchisees. So actually go and talk to the franchisees. When you enter into a franchise, the franchisor is required to give you a disclosure document. And part of that disclosure document are the contact details of everyone who is a franchisee and even past franchisees. You are entitled to pick up the phone and call them. You should ring them and inquire about how they were to deal with. Did they live up to their promises? Ask lots of questions, because they're the people at the end of the day who will know best what you're getting yourself into. So ask how they treat their first franchisees. If they're cagey about that, I think that's a massive red flag, and that you should run for the hills if they don't want you calling people. Most of them will have a good amount of franchisees who you can talk to. So that's the first one. Ask how they treat their first and their subsequent franchisees. Craig, the second one.
Second one's about earnings potential. So one of the biggest ones as to why you'd be looking at a franchise is, well, exactly what are you going to be earning within that franchise? So you need to examine what's in the disclosure documents about the franchise, and get your advisors involved so they can have a look at the figures in there. So your accountant or some form of business advisory person that you have in your team. So there could be things in there, well, it's earning this amount, but if you work in there, then the wages will go down to this, and then blah, blah, blah. So you need to have a look at all those sorts of things and make sure you're comfortable with that. It actually stacks up with what you're going to do. So very important to have a look at the earnings potential and get some advice about it. So you're about to, as a franchise buying one, it's not going to be for nothing. You are going to have to hand over some money normally. So you want to make sure you're going to get a return on that going forward. So absolutely imperative to have a look at the earnings potential and not just look at the paper and go, yep, that's a good figure. Actually look behind it all and have someone look into the actual figures that have been presented to make sure it stacks up. So yeah, pretty important consideration. Examine the earnings potential. Jeremy, what was the next one that we had?
The next one is really around what coaching does the franchisor give you to help you run the business. So when you buy a franchise, you're buying the intellectual property, you're buying how they run their business, you're buying their logo, their brand, but you've got to buy into a business where they're going to actually help you to teach you how to run it. No one can pick up a business straight away and just run it without any problems. So what coaching do they do? How do they help you to actually run that business properly? Like, even if they've got a really, really good manual, you still need to go through a training process so that you can understand how to implement that into the business. So that's the third one. Craig, what's the fourth one?
Fourth one, all these that we're talking about are important. And this one is, what territory will you operate in? So it sort of connects with the earnings potential and looking at the territory. So most franchises are, when they're selling to a franchisee, there's a particular territory and where that franchise will operate in. So you want to have a look at that to make sure it suits the actual franchise, that there are some research into the need for that particular business in that area. For instance, setting up a ice or a water shop in Antarctica, for instance, may not suit the territory. So it's important to look at that and make sure it fits in. There could be 12 donut shops in that area, for instance. So definitely looking at the territory in which you will operate in as part of the franchise is really important to consider. The last one, Jeremy.
Oh, just before we do, I think that the franchise of selling water, say in the Sahara Desert, might be a good one though.
Yeah, that'd be a good territory.
You just got to figure out which territory is best. So
yeah, and where you're going to get the water from.
Exactly.
So I guess that's part of the franchise.
That's right. They should have a system that helps you get there. So the fifth and final one is to look for knowledge sharing among franchisees. So what community of franchisees is there, and how do they share to help each other to become better? Because in operating a business, you learn so much every day. I know I learn so much every day just running all the businesses that I'm involved in, and sharing that knowledge amongst all the franchisees actually helps you become better. And so you want to look for a franchise where people share and there's not hiding or hoarding of information or hiding of information, and they share the knowledge amongst each other so that the collective wisdom gets better. So Craig, there are our 5 things to consider before becoming a franchisee.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. And as we said, buying a franchise, pretty big step, and you want to consider these things before you take that plunge. Franchises, probably get a little bit of a bad rap occasionally in the media. So you've got but there are plenty of good ones out there. So check it all out. Consider all those sorts of things before you do it. So you're going in there with all the information to hand and got the right advice. All right, that is it for us today. Please do us a favor and rate and review the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed and got something out of the content, and rating and reviewing it also puts it out there so other people can see the great 5-star review that you may have left, and then they might jump on and join the Brisbane Professionals podcast community. So please, thank you in advance for that. Like the SMS Law Facebook page to get other information outside the podcast. Follow us on Twitter or search for us in LinkedIn. Happy to connect through those platforms. All right, that is it for us today. We'll be back again next time. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.